What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the EF sedan. If you guys have seen the last video, we painted the engine bay. It is looking fire. It's been sitting and drying for the last 3 days now, and I am ready to start working around the engine bay. And today we're going to probably start with the lower rear subframe. But before that, I want to talk about something really quickly. You guys remember we are rocking this SIR style hood for the EF sedan, USDM front end. Big shout out to Slimeball. He is the guy who provides these in fiberglass and carbon fiber. But I kind of want to talk about these products real quick to a specific car. So the homie Brian, he creates this hood with his partner, and he has them available for the CRX, the hatch, the sedans, and the wagon, SIR style only in fiberglass and carbon fiber. If you guys don't know, the EF2 is the 88 to 91 Civic sedan outside of this country that has the J front, which has the hump on the hood, the grill in the front of the hood as well, and the one-piece headlight. I asked him if he had the EF2 hoods in stock or if they produced them or not, and he said that they didn't. And I was like, man, you know, it'd be sick if you did, because when he delivered my EF2, which is currently sitting in storage, I popped the hood to assess the engine bay, and man, that hood weighs like an elephant. So I was talking to Slimeball to see if that's something maybe they would produce later down the road or something like that. And he actually spoke to his guy just recently, and he said that they're willing to do it. They have a hood in stock and they can make a mold and all of that. But in order for him to get going on the production, they need at least 10 pre-orders with half paid. I don't know what the price is, but it is casted out there that they are willing to do the JDM EF2 hood in fiberglass or carbon fiber. They just need 10 people to come on board first. So if you guys are interested, as well as me, hit up Slimeball on either Instagram or Brian Maldonado on Facebook. I'll put a link in the description below to get in contact with him if you guys are interested in getting a lighter hood for your EF2 front end. Let's get the ball rolling, man, because what I got in store for the EF2, the hood's really gonna pop it off. But anyways, let's get to the video. I'm gonna give you guys one more look at the engine bay before we get to work with the rear firewall right there. The engine bay is dry to the touch, and I'm gonna let it sit, obviously dry a little bit longer before the engine goes in. And the engine bay came out freaking amazing for what we did in the previous video. We painted in the dark, we painted it in the cold, Harbor Freight gun, Valspar base, European clear coat, and my propane heater. The paint came out freaking amazing. I don't know if you guys can see the shine, the barely any orange peel, to be honest with you. The metallic in this paint code is freaking awesome, or at least the person who mixed it for me. Shout out to the homies over there at East Bay. And man, it is looking freaking awesome. Over here on this side, check it out, check it out. Looking freaking fire. Check it out, check it out. Ooh, I can't stop looking at this engine bay. I can assure you guys that this is more of a sky blue, like my brother's not home. Okay, so anyways, it is the sky blue, kind of like the Superior blue. It is darker in the camera, it is darker underneath the canopy and the light, but I can assure you that this is a light sky blue-ish color. So I want to get down with the subframe, and before the subframe, we have to paint this bottom end right here with some undercoating. I'm going to follow the line of the seam sealer right here, tape it all off, and then, you know, make sure we don't get any overspray, and then hit all of that with the rubberized undercoating, as well as the front half of the lower radius support, because it did come factory black on the bottom. So you guys can see I didn't paint all the way here because this was all going to be rubberized undercoating anyway. So tape it off, you know, I've already scuffed this up, and then we're just going to shoot, and then we'll work with getting the subframe put onto the car. So this car was power steering. We do have a manual rack and pinion for it now. I know the bracket's a little bit different, we'll figure something out, but subframe got cleaned up. We truck lined it. It looks freaking awesome with the texture. And then we also got the rear mount plate bolted on in place with the support bracket welded on before the paint, so we have that extra support to keep it from bowing, right, from all the torque we're going to be putting down to this car. Rack and pinions right there in the big ass Rock Auto box. I do have the tie rods down there as well too. And let's get everything on the table and let's get to work again. Got this off of Rock Auto. part number 4123N. Literally says new manual rack and pinion. Hopefully this is the correct part. This right here, new rack. It does come with the boot and the inner rods. I did order the outer rods separately, and I can already tell you the difference with the center shaft compared to the power steering unit. What you need to do is you need to push the rack itself all the way to the passenger side, right? Put the rack through the subframe on the passenger side, and then you have to point the inner rod on the driver's side all the way down so you can get it underneath the subframe support mount in order to get the shaft into the subframe itself. So now you can see goes right through. So I have the two 14mm hardware for the driver's side kind of loosely on there right now, securing the rack down, and this is the other end where we're going to have to figure out the bushing situation. So if you look, this inner diameter is much larger than the manual rack. So if you look, all that spacing, yeah, that's that's a lot. So what I did on my brother's car was I took a rubber coupler, this one here, and I cut this to compensate the gap and make it really nice and snug, a little bit puffier, so that way when the brackets secure it down, it's actually clamping the rack to ensure it doesn't move around. So pretty much all I'm going to do is cut strips of this. I'm probably going to cut this in half to make it maybe 2 layers. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put that on here, and it looks like it might take 2 layers. So I'm gonna cut this equally in half. Don't worry, when I find the correct replacement bushing, I will change it out, as well as the bracket if it's different between the power steering and the manual, which I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna take about 2 layers of it. And there you go. This rack is not moving anywhere. Awesome. I was putting all of these little boots back on right here. Took it all off before I painted it. Got all these little grommet as well. They go into all these little open holes. There's 6 of them. You guys see this little square right here? I am going to cut a hole right there for the shift cables to come through the firewall. It's going to go up the subframe and then to the shift mechanism. I was going to do it underneath, but I want to avoid having the shift cables kind of dangling over the transfer case, which is going to sit about right here. So I'm going to drill through slightly, check inside the car. If it looks good, we'll go all the way through. So I have the hole cut out, and I have it all deburred as well too, so it doesn't cut the cable sleeving. I do have to cut it on the inside because there is another sheet of metal right here, and I noticed that on the inside there's the seatbelt box that I don't want to cut through, so I'll take care of that when I take off the center console. But we are about to spray some rubberized undercoating. got some nice coverage. I also mentioned in a previous video, I'm gonna get 2 more of these jack stands. I'm gonna lift the car up super high so we can pressure wash underneath all of the floorboard. And I need to cut off that bracket which belongs to the automatic shifter and make some space for the drive shaft and the exhaust system. So now we're going to spray the front, which I also have masked off a little bit. I'm going to be using cardboard right here, and we're going to spray the back side as well as the front side. Took all the masking off, and the undercoating is looking fire, dude. Nice and uniform, no more patches, looking really good. Back over here, fire. So I am still going to put the subframe on. The bolt hole is actually in the front, so it's not going to actually touch the underlining, so we're not going to mess with it or alter it, but we're going to put the subframe on and got to be very careful. So we have the subframe entirely installed, and the joint is connected to the steering shaft. We're gonna have to adjust that to get it all nice and centered later. I decided to not do the outer rods. I'm just gonna keep that when I do the full suspension after we do everything in the engine bay. I don't want to put all the new stuff and then dirt and stuff kind of kick on it. It's gonna be all black, and you're gonna see it's gonna change color to like brown. So I'll leave that all for a different day. I need my cowl right there. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it is kind of cold to play with water right now, but I need to clean my stuff before I install it. Grab some Dawn soap right there. Squeeze a little something in here. Get the weather stripping, kind of drown it in there. Get a little scrub in a moment. Need to grab this box right here. Also need to grab this little bag right here. One more piece I need to clean is this guy right here. All right, so got this kind of cleaned up, and this piece right here actually goes right in the center of the firewall like so, and it is only held on by the 2 front clips that holds the weather stripping and the cowl to the firewall, and then you have this little piece right here that secures on the top, and then the 4th one is secured by the screw that also secures the cowl. So this right here kind of helps direct the water when the water flows down. And go ahead and just put this one on right. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was supposed to trim black the cowl here to make it nice and fresh, but I think I'm just gonna wait to pull the entire trim off the car to paint them all together so it's all nice and uniform. This has to come off anyways for when the windshield gets replaced, because it is cracked in 4 different spots. And this is gonna go on first, and then the weather stripping goes in the front, which prevents water from coming into the engine bay if it does pass this little little wall right here. But all the little plastic push lock thing are broken off when I took it off, which is almost typical because they get old and brittle. 30-year-old car. I have this assortment of like push clips that comes from Amazon. You can get it for like 25 bucks for this whole entire, I don't know, 1,000 piece or something. Just got to find the right assortment, the right size, the most flushest one to go into this hole here. So that's how I'm going to install this. And then we have the little bag which has the clips and the screws to secure the top half to the top of the firewall there. So let's go ahead and install this. We have the cowl installed with the weather stripping fully secured. This one right here, the clip on the back side split in half, so I do have it drying with some super glue right now, and then once that is done, we'll put the screw and the cap on. It's funny that these caps are a different color than the cowl itself. I'm not sure if this is the one I pulled off from the car, but regardless of the fact, it's going to get painted all together anyways. So right now I really want to do the brake lines, because the brake lines is literally the last thing to do in this corner before we can put the engine back into the car. Brake booster and all that, I'm not too worried about it because that's the transmission side and nothing's really in the way, so I can work around that area no problem. This right here is where the valve cover is going to be sitting, and all the turbo manifold stuff is going to be sitting back here as well, that I want to take care of the brake line stuff first. So I'm going to pull all my brake lines out so I can clean them real quick, and then find a suitable location for the prop valve where we can attach the rear brake lines right here. Really can't go far because this is short, unless I adapt another hard line into it with some fittings and make that longer, or go stainless. So you guys see here, I took the prop valve apart because I am switching the bracket from one side to the other, since it used to sit on the tower and now it's going to go sit on the firewall. So I have to flip the bracket around so we can use these mounting points. I do have to shave the bracket down a little bit to clear this little hump in the front where it didn't have it in the back. I'm going to put this back together right now, and this is just a temporary one because we're going to be running big brakes in the front and disc in the rear. This is a 30-30 prop valve, and we're going to switch over to something like a 40-40 if I can find one. The prop valve number is normally written in the front top right ear, right here where my thumb is at, and it faces the front of the car. So the prop valve used to sit right here on the passenger tower, and the bracket used to be on this side where it bolts to these holes here. So I switched the bracket around because the prop valve is going to go towards the firewall, and now we have a mounting spot for it. I did it that way because the proportioning valve sat like this, and when I move it to the firewall, I want it to be somewhat in the same positioning instead of being like upside down, you know what I mean? So I want it right here in the middle of the firewall, not too high, not too low, but right here in the middle, because these hard lines are not that long, and that should be plenty to get to the prop valve down here. And these three right here, including the fourth one that goes to the passenger side, is going to get rebent and reflared. But I've done this before, not an easy task, not a hard task, but we're gonna have to flare and bend new lines. So well, old lines, sorry, not new lines. But anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and just knock this out. I'm not gonna show you guys a step-by-step on how to flare lines or anything like that. I've done it plenty of times before. YouTube also has a bunch of videos, and it also just depends on what kind of tools you have. super windy right now. I am freezing. All right guys, so we are done with our brake lines and the prop valve relocation. It is going to sit right here down low, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Not too much with the finger bending of the lines and everything, but it is the factory hard line, so you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. When the engine's in place, valve cover sits here. You're probably not going to see that at all, and I'm probably going to have to clean up the sleeving on this right here so it's nice and uniform. It is oversprayed with gray or whatever that is, but brake line, it rubs off. Okay, well anyways, prop valve brake lines are in. Gonna be switching this to a 40/40 prop valve, and then the bracket will get painted so it's nice and one color instead of raw metal. It did start downpouring a minute ago, and good thing I added this second tarp right here from when I painted the engine bay. The water wasn't coming through the lamp and like hitting me while I was working on that. Instead, it's just drizzled out that way, and because I pushed the car in more forward, water's just going down the roof and barely this way. Before, it used to waterfall straight all over here and all that. So this, I'm gonna have to change the entire thing hopefully soon, because if you look on this side, pissing, just pissing. I'm also not going to be throwing the hood on because it was super windy earlier, and because we don't have the T-bar or the latch in place, I don't want the hood to go on. It's super light. You guys seen it. I picked it up with my pinky, and I don't want the wind to like, you know, blow the hood up or something. But you know, I'm gonna leave that there for another day. The hinges have their little stoppers in the back, so that's as high as it goes. Without it, it'd go full 90, if not all the way back. We made a ton of progress. We got the subframe installed, the new rack and pinion installed, and all the brake lines and prop valve put back in. The booster, the master, is going to get changed out to probably the DA version, but I think I'm going to do the factory Civic booster with the DA master. And the reason for that is because I know the turbo already comes really close to this master here, so I don't want to use a DA where the booster will push the master more forward, and then it's going to interfere with all my fabrication stuff. So I think that's the game plan. Civic booster, Integra master. We'll change that out when we get the new parts. We also got the cowl installed with all the hardware. I did put in that last screw with the cap, and that is nice and secured. The more we work on the engine bay, the closer we get it ready for the engine to go back in, and I think that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to pull the engine off the stand so we can mate it up with the transmission, the flywheel, clutch, and all that good stuff to get this back into the car hopefully in the next day or so. I also just came back home from taking my mom to the temple where she's going to be staying overnight, and then tomorrow she's going to be boarding her 15-hour flight back home to Cambodia. She has not been back to Cambodia since coming here to America, and she's been anticipating this for like the last 2 years. My mom and my dad both got their passport to fly. Unfortunately, my dad passed away, and it was kind of postponed for a little bit. Super pouring outside right now, but my mom finally booked her flight about a little under a year ago, and the date has finally come where she's going to be flying back home. She's going to be linking up with my dad's side of the family, which my mom and dad found them through Facebook 3 or 4 years ago, and they've just been on FaceTime like every single day to pretty much catch up. And the crazy part is, like, I've met the side of the family as well too, and my dad was talking to his aunt, which is my grandma's sister, and dude, she looks just like my grandma. She's a little slimmer, but she looks just like my grandma. No doubt in mind that my dad has found his family. Unfortunately, my dad's not going to be going with my mom, and my mom is going to go out there and link up with my dad's side of the family pretty much, and also visit her hometown, her friends out there as well too, and I believe her side of the family, like aunts and stuff, or cousins or something like that. So I'm excited for my mom, man. She's gonna have a blast. 1 whole month in Cambodia, bro, and I really hope she has a great time. Anyways, guys, for this video, we're gonna wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the EF sedan build. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around to see the engine go back into the car, man, be sure to hit the subscribe button. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.